Aloha and welcome to Knitted Paradise, where the needles are clicking and the yarn is squishy. My name is Lucia, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Purl of the Pacific. Welcome to episode 84. I'm actually recording on my normal recording schedule. I know the last few episodes have kind of been all over the place, so I'm happy to be back on a weekly schedule, and hopefully that will continue. So yeah, welcome. Let's get started, I guess. I'm always bad at this, I can do the intro, and then I can do stuff, and then the stuff in between is just awkward. Anyway, let's get going. Below the conch shell, I don't really have any announcements this week. I do have some things that are upcoming that will be announcements, but I didn't get myself together enough to share them with you today. So, there are some exciting things coming, like some giveaways and such, but I need to get them a little more organized before I announce them. As you can hear, the bird is also very excited that it is morning and I'm recording, so I hope you enjoy it. I realized the one thing about recording at night last time was that she was asleep, so that worked out well. Alright, let's dive into On the Island. I have been knitting away this week, which has been great. I go through phases of wanting to just knit everything, and I can't because I have certain things that have to be knit. So I've been trying to not cast on everything, but instead just been working on the things that I have on the needles so that they actually get done. And I worked quite a lot on my Batgirl socks, and they are about ready for the ribbing, except for the fact that I tried them on and they're too small. The length is fine, but around the heel area they get really tight on the top, which is weird because I have a bunch of extra stitches there, so I don't know what's going on. I think I did less stitches on this sock than I normally do for me because there's sections of purling, which is notorious for having a looser gauge. I know my purling has a looser gauge than my knitting. So I thought, oh, that'll kind of even out. But then there's these sections of stockinette, and right over the heel there's this section of stockinette, which is pulling on the top of my foot. And so I have to rip them back. And I've kind of just put them into hibernation and ignored them for the week. While I was doing other things, but I will have to rip them back, which is really sad because I was hoping to just have them done. But you know what? It's okay because I love this yarn. It is GnomeAcres in her Bungalow Gnome, which is her BFL nylon base, and the color is Batgirl. And I will actually show you the pattern here instead of waving them around far away. There's a bat symbol there that I wrote up in a chart that I will release as kind of a free chart thing. And I did put them on the back, alternate spacing. So when there's one on the front, there isn't one like right here, there's one on the front and not one on the back, and then alternate. So I do like that idea, and I will continue that. But I have to rip them back and figure out what's going on in the heel area and then knit them again. They go really quickly once I get them going. So I think last week I just turned the heel. So that's a few days worth of knitting right there. Because I realized, very quickly that they were too small. So those are getting ripped back. And you notice this is kind of like Star Trek week, I guess. I had this living in my kitchen countercrafter Star Trek bag. And, also I'm wearing my Star Trek comm badge because we're going to see Star Trek at Ravinia this afternoon, which is an outdoor theater. So the Chicago Symphony Orchestra plays the soundtrack, and you watch the movie on the lawn, and it's amazing. So, of course, I was going to wear my Star Trek comm badge and knit on some Star Trek-y things. So I cast on my Spock socks, which are out of Turtle Purl yarns in her Live Long and Prosper colorway, which is a self-striping Spock-inspired colorway. They're just stockinette. I just call them Spock socks because they're inspired by Spock. So that is the whole color repeat there. And I did do the toes out of Loopy Solid series in black because I had that in my stash. So I used just some black, and then I used the striping yarn started in black. So I just did that, and then you get these two little stripes of gold, and then you get some blue, and then you get some black, and then you get a larger section of blue, and then the two gold stripes, and it continues like that. So I'm very excited about these, and I've been trying them on because I don't knit stockinette socks for myself, hardly ever, so I don't know my standard stitch count for my foot. So I did decrease at some point. I think it's right here. You can kind of see it for the yellow stripes. Just 2 stitches on each side because I thought they were a little big. But that's that. And those are living in my Stitched by Just Lou Star Trek bag. So I've got both my Star Trek bags going this week. So this will come with me to Ravinia this afternoon so I can knit on my Spock socks while watching Spock. Because I'm nerdy like that, you know. What else are you going to knit on watching Star Trek outdoors? Star Trek socks. So those are the 2 socks that I have going. And then last week I showed some yarn that I got at Stitches for baby sweaters for a friend of mine who's having twins. And I knit like crazy on these baby sweaters, and they're absolutely adorable. So the first one I did was this one. They haven't been blocked. Most of the ends are woven in. I tried to weave them in as I went so that it wouldn't be a nut house at the end, trying to weave in all the ends, especially since I changed colors for the cuffs and the button band. Anyway, this is the Baby Sophisticate pattern by Linden Down. And the blue is Holiday Yarns Super Sheep DK in Starry Night. And here, I'll show you the back. You can kind of get more of the colors. And it's this beautiful tonal blue. I love it. And the collars are done out of Sunvalley Fibers BFL DK. And the colorway is Kent. It's a lovely dark gray. And they roll, and it's a nice shawl collar. And it actually, when it blocks, it will button up. Anyway, and then I did the cuffs in the Kent and then the bottom in the Kent as well. So I think this is absolutely adorable. And then the second one I did also with the Kent, but in red. And the red is Leading Man Fiber Arts Dramaturg in Poison Apple. And I love how they turned out. They're really quick. I've knit this pattern before. Years and years ago, I did it out of like some yellow Spud and Chloe for another friend of mine whose son is now, I think, turning 3 this fall. So it was a while ago. I think it was my first sweater. And I realized, oh, these aren't so hard. I mean, it was baby sweater, so, you know, whatever. But it's still like the idea of it, it's the same. You just don't have to worry about shaping and stuff like that. So it's a really quick knit. It's similar to the Gramps cardigan, I realized, but that has pockets, and I just didn't want to do pockets. This one doesn't have pockets. It's just, this is the pattern. It's very simple. It's written for Aran weight. So I did, there's 2 sizes. There's a free version, and then there's the paid for version, which is like child sizes, and then the free version is the baby size. And there are like newborn and then 0 or then like 3 to 6 months or something like that. And I did the 3 to 6 month size just because I wanted to be a little bigger. And also because I went down a needle size because I was doing DK. So I think it calls for 8s, but my 8s were busy. So I just did 7s, and I went up a size in the pattern. And I think they turned out quite cute. And yeah, so those are done. I need to weave in the ends and block them and sew on the buttons, which I will show you. They're absolutely adorable. Are from GnomeAcres, and they're these little robots with hearts on them, and they're really cute. The other modification I did on the pattern was the buttonholes. It calls for, like, you knit to a certain point and then you do a yarn over it. But I knew these buttons were bigger than what would fit in a yarn over. So I knit to that point, and then I bound off one stitch using Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off method, which has a yarn over, and then you bind off a stitch that makes it extra stretchy and an extra big hole. And then on the next row, I cast on 2 stitches for each of those holes. And then on the next row, I just knit, and then on the row back, I decreased those 2 back down to 1. So it just gave an extra space for that hole. Also, I think the pattern calls for 4 buttonholes, and I just did 3. And that's, ooh, these ones are seeming a little small. I'm going to have to stretch them. But I did test them, at least on the first sweater. I'm going to test them again. We'll see. And to see if let's see if this will fit through the buttonhole. Where's the buttonhole? There it is. Oh, it's on this side. That's why. There's this one, like, super stretched out stitch here, but it's the buttonholes on this side. Yeah, those will fit through easily. So, ta-da! I mean, it's the inside of the sweater, but they'll fit through, which is nice. So, those are adorable, and I can't wait to actually do the finishing on them. The baby shower is next weekend, so you won't see them next week, so that's why I wanted to show them this week, but I will post a picture once I get them, like, finished and with buttons and all that stuff. But there they are. I think they look really cute together, and I really like the colors. So that is that. Those are the 3 things that I worked on this week. I didn't finish anything, but I realized last time I forgot to tell you, I finished the Zigzagular socks out of GnomeAcres Bungalow Gnome in Winchester. But I didn't have them to show, which is why I totally forgot, because I already gifted them or gave them to the person who ordered them. So those were done. They were out of the house, so I forgot about them. But those are done, and I loved the pattern. It's super simple, super quick, and I loved the yarn. So, ta-da! Those were great. I would highly recommend that pattern. It's a free pattern by Susie White. You should definitely check it out. From the mainland, we'll skip that for a second. I have some cool things to show, but I have to redo my setup to actually show them to you. And Flora and Fauna. I actually have a Flora and Fauna this section this week. I came up with this last night. As I was knitting on my Spock socks, I realized that I have this weird anomaly when I knit with self-striping yarn, which is very rare. I don't actually knit with self-striping yarn that often just because I don't have self-striping yarn. I need to get more because it's awesome. But I realized, like, I must knit one sock tighter than the other one, because consistently, I know that they're dyed to match. I don't think it's the dyer, because this is the second pair of socks. It's the third pair of socks that it's happened on. So, but the other 2 were the Waldo and Wenda socks, and they were out of the same yarn. So I thought, oh, maybe just one end of the ball had longer repeats than the other end of the ball, which doesn't really make any sense, but it could happen. But it's happening again with the Spock socks, where I must knit one tighter than the other because the color changes happen sooner on one sock than the other. And it's not like they consistently, like, oh, it's 2 stitches every time. It's like, no, it's 2 stitches, and then it's 4 stitches, and then it's 6 stitches, and then eventually, after a while, it's, a whole round. And it's really bizarre. I don't know if anyone else has that problem, or if it's just me that has this problem. So now I'm, like, really concerned about knitting one sock tighter than the other. They don't feel one's tighter than the other, but for some reason one is tighter than the other. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just mark one of them and just consciously knit it more loosely so that the color changes happen at the same time. I don't know what's going on. I was just kind of curious if anyone else has that issue. I don't know, maybe because I knit them 2 at a time, this is the odd thing. I'm like, it's not, especially with the 2 at a time stockinette, I don't know which is the first sock and which is the second sock. At first I thought, oh, it's because this is the top, and I tend to knit this top tighter than that top. Like the first, like you have the top of the foot and then the bottom of the foot. That's why I'm talking about top and bottom. Like I don't tend to knit the first top tighter than the second top, because then I turn it around and I'm like, then I would think I would knit the first bottom tighter than the second bottom, or whatever. I don't even know which is which. But with the stockinette sock, like I didn't mark where's the beginning of the round. Like after I did the toe, once I joined in the new yarn, I have no idea when I'm knitting it. I'm just knitting in circles. So it's really odd to me that one sock would be tighter than the other, just because I don't know which sock is which. And I would figure it would even out, because there's, here, I'll get the socks and show them to you. I'll make this explanation a little bit easier. Because like if I'm knitting along this way, this is the first sock and this is the second sock. But then you turn it around and this becomes the first sock and this becomes the second sock. So you'd think that would even out over time. But I don't, maybe it doesn't. It's the weirdest thing. I just noticed this last night. I thought it was just the other yarn I was knitting with, that maybe the color changes were happening differently. But this is the second yarn that's done it, and they're totally different dyers, so I'm really confused. So if anyone has any thoughts on that, please let me know if this has happened to you, or if I'm just odd. One of those things. So that's my Flora and Fauna section. I know it's not really helpful, but it's more of a question of, does this happen to anyone else? This is a realization. It's a confession, a realization that I've made this past week. And so I'm sharing it with you, just in case this happens to you and you thought you were weird, or that the yarn was weird. I don't know. So that's it for yarny stuff. I now have some from the mainland. I have a really awesome Lego set that I'm going to show you. And I thought I'd show you maybe some more of the games that we got at GenCon, with just like a 2-second explanation of what they are, so that you, some people said they liked seeing the games that we have. So I thought, hey, I'll share a couple more of what we got at GenCon. Okay, I'm back with the Lego Temple of Airjitsu set, which is epically awesome. Now, this is a set that is not quite out yet. It is being released on Tuesday, which is August 18th, for Lego VIP members. So if you have a Lego VIP card, you can purchase it. I think it's that way for usually a month, and then everyone can purchase it. Now, Lego VIP is basically, it's a rewards program. If you go to the store and you're like, I want to buy this, they'll ask you, or you do have a VIP card. And if you don't have one, you just give them your first, last name, and email address. They will sign you up, and you may purchase it. So just putting that out there. And you can get rewards over time if you bring your card and they scan it, and you get points and you can use them on stuff. So if you buy a lot of Lego, you probably know about this, but just thought I'd put that out there. So this is the Temple of Airjitsu set we got to build that we're going to take out to the Lego store for their display case today. And it is in the world of Ninjago, which are the ninjas, ninja world. But this temple is so cool. I built most of it, and it was super cool. So let's get started. I don't even know where to start. This is like I guess because there's a bunch of food and it's mostly food in here. It's like the marketplace. And then you have, I think, like the house. Oh, the blacksmith thing's over here. Yeah. So this is where they make tools and weapons and stuff over there. So it's the blacksmith's kind of hut. And then this is the temple. And I'll turn it around in a second so you can see all of the cool things. But this roof is really cool. I'll actually take off a piece. This is the trickiest thing to build. But there are these things, and then they click in to the building. At first, when I was building, I put the piece that this fits in, I was putting it there. I'm like, why are these pieces here? And then I built the roof, and I'm like, oh, that's why they're there. It clicks into there. And they actually, it bends. So you click it in, and then you bend it to where it needs to be. But it really captures that style, the Asian kind of curved roof style, where like you have these points. So I think this is really cool, because I was wondering, like, how are they going to do those kind of Japanese roof things out of Lego? But they did, and it's really cool. So you've got all the characters here that I just kind of put places so that the cat doesn't knock them down. And ta-da! And there's also a sliding door here. Ta-da! You can kind of see. Sorry, now that you see the size of it, you can see why I couldn't just hold the thing, because I'd probably drop pieces and it would be disastrous. Also, this bridge that kind of connects the pieces just kind of sits in there. It doesn't really click in, so that would have not shown. But I think the bridge is really cool. Here, I'll actually show it to you. It's got these little gargoyle thingies. So they're not really gargoyles because this is Asia, but I don't really know what they're called. And then this is like a bendy piece that you click in on both sides. It's really cool. And then there's like, I don't know what these are. I called them like tentacle pieces or something, but it's a really cool bridge that just clicks in right there over the water. Oh, I realized that this cart is in the water. This is a cart of fireworks. And if you twist this black thing here, these little studs go flying. I would do it, but then I'd never be able to find them again. I did them yesterday and like really was careful about watching where each of them went before doing the next one. Luckily, they mostly ended up in my lap, so it was okay. But I'd never seen this piece before, but it's meant just for this. And you literally just turn this here, and then there's a piece in there that just like dislodges them, and they fly up, just like fireworks. It's really cool, but be careful where you fly them. Then you have the fishing station over here with a little crab. Ding, ding, ding. The cat seems to really like. The cat apparently really likes crab. The roofs on this one are actually, it's really hard to see them because they're black against a black background. And I just took that top off. Anyway, we'll just show this. Then I'll put it back on. But these roof pieces are just loose, and they just lay like that. So that's how they get that effect, which I thought was really cool when I was putting them together. I was like, oh, I guess they're, I was talking with someone else, and they said these are also used for, like, garage doors. They're like, oh, are those the garage door pieces? I'm like, yeah, that's what they are. I'd never seen them used for garage doors, but you could, and that'd be really cool. And also you can see in there, there's these two hidden chests that get hidden in the roof, and they have secret things in them. It's really fun. When I realized, I'm like, oh, you build those and then stick them in the roof, so you can get to them like this. You just lift the roof up, and then you can pull them out. But I just thought that's really cool. There's tons of hidden things in this temple. It's so cool. All right, we're going to attempt to stick this roof back on. There we go. Oh, that actually worked quite well. Okay, I'm going to take these two pieces off and turn it around so you can see the back. I also really love these trees over here. And they're like fall trees. So this is the back, and you have, so you can see we've got some stashed things up here, and then the blacksmith thing down there. I know it's really hard to see because it's dark, but ooh, mailman falling off. And then this is the back of the temple. So you have the tea that the sensei likes to drink out of his blue teapot there. This tea and snacks and stuff. And then you have like the practice, I don't know what you call that. Dojo thing where you practice your skills. But there's like a dummy here that's for you to shoot at, and there's some weapons and things like that. And then this is kind of the Zen painting area up here. So you've got like a table that moves around, and then you've got a little painting palette and a paintbrush and things up here. and some books with some things hidden in them, which is really fun. And then you have another box up here of hidden things. And then, oh, is that, where's the, there it is. Ooh, it is on this side. Okay. So one of the coolest things about this is it has a shadow box theater. So if you push this in, you get a light, so you can see it. And then if you turn this, you can see the little guys move. And it's like a little shadow box theater. When I was building it, I'm like, what? Are they like roasting miniature things in here? And then I realized, no, there is part of the shadow box theater. And so you see people in there fighting with flames and stuff. I mean, I guess you could change what's in there, whatever you want, right? I mean, this is what's in there right now, but this is one of the coolest things, I think. So the way it's set up is really cool. So anyway, I keep saying it's cool. It's really cool. We'll just go with that. And then this is the back of the like marketplace. So there's little like baguettes and chickens and cookies and trading cards. I guess and I don't really follow Ninjago that much. I just thought this temple was really cool, and yeah, I was offered to build it. I was like, yes. So these are trading cards from the series or something like that. These are trading cards that appear. So they have them printed on art little stickers that you put on little things.
The original game.
The original, the game had them? Okay. See, husband knows all of the answers. I just build sets. Some of them. He builds. Oh, maybe another time I'll show you the other really cool thing that he built this weekend while I was building this. But this will be good for this. So I think that's it. Those are all of the, I mean, there's tons of little awesome things in here. But there you get the idea of the amazingness of the Airjitsu temple. So an Airjitsu, I guess, is a new form of fighting thing. Spinjitsu was a thing for a while, and then they got into Airjitsu. I really don't know what it is, but it's okay. I still enjoy the temple. That's really it. Okay, so I'm going to show you some games from GenCon. So I'm going to start with this one, which is Batman Flux. It just came out, actually. And it was kind of like an early, not an early release, but you could purchase it a little early at GenCon. And I thought, well, I should buy this because I'm now really into Batman and Batgirl. There's a Batgirl card in here, which is fun. And it's similar to regular Flux if you play it, and where there's different, I won't explain the game of Flux, but basically there's different goals that you have to complete by collecting certain cards, and you can change the rules by playing new rule cards, and then you've got keepers such as Bruce Wayne, and then you've got the creepers, which are the bad guys, and things like that. And one of the specials that we picked up at GenCon from a different booth was the, it's an action card. It's a Two-Face card. Like, there's a Two-Face villain card in here, and then there's this Two-Face action card where you flip this coin that they send with you, which is actually, I think it's plastic, but it's actually, I mean, it feels heavier than plastic. I don't really know what it's made out of, but anyway. And so you flip the coin, and if you had called it correctly, you had to draw some cards or something. Anyway, that was just kind of a fun extra thing that we picked up while they were there. And there's another promotion that I've been seeing online that I might try to get for it too. But that was really fun. It's a really easy game to play. Another one I picked up on the last day, actually, I found kind of as a gem on the complete other side of the hall. Before the hall opened, because I was an exhibitor, I got to go in early before the masses. And I decided to just go clear to the other side of the hall and see what kind of cool things they had over there. And this was one of them. So I picked this up. It's called Ravwell, and it's a racing game. So you are a ship, and you are trying to escape from a black hole, basically. And it has this beautiful board. Ta-da! So this is you've got the black hole here in the middle, and you are trying to fly out to get to the warp gate. And the first one to make it there wins. Is basically the basic rules. And it comes with a little thing of ships. So you fly these ships. And the cards work that you have. There's gravity cards, there's repulsion cards, and there's tractor beam cards. So gravity cards don't necessarily pull you forward, but they pull you toward the closest object, which may be behind you. You do have an emergency, like, full stop card that you can use once per round. That you, like, if you had thought, oh, the closest thing is in front of me, I'm going to move 10 forward, this will be great. And then someone else moves and your plans are now destroyed, you can play your full stop. I don't really want to go 10 backward because I'm trying to get to the warp gate. So it's really fun, and it's there's a little bit of strategy and also a little bit of randomness because you all pick what card you want to do and then you turn them over and you resolve them in alphabetical order because there's one for, they're all based on elements. And anyway, it's really fun. Another quick game to play. And also I realized you can play it by yourself. So you just play against a random ship, which I've done, which is really fun. So that was that. And I thought since we're on the Star Trek theme, I would show off the Star Trek game that we got. And this is a brand new game that just came out through Mayfair Games, which is a very large gaming company. They're the same ones that did Sheer Panic, the one I showed, the sheep game I showed last time. And it's called Star Trek 5-Year Mission, and it's a cooperative game in which you are the crew of the ship. So you can either choose the Next Generation crew or you can choose the original series crew. And basically it's like an episode. Something goes horribly wrong and you all need to fix it or you all die. So if you fix it, then you win, and if you don't fix it, then your ship explodes. This is the basic. We haven't actually played through the game, but that was kind of my basic understanding. And while we were there, the designer of the game was there signing autographs. So that's his signature there on the front that you can see. And we did get to talk to him for a little bit, and it was really interesting because he was sharing how this is his first cooperative game and how it's very different than other game designs because the balance is very different. Because usually you're balancing one player against other players, but now you're balancing the whole group of players against the game. So it's a different sort of thing. I mean, we talked with our friend Aaron, who does the games that we showed at GenCon, and he was saying that cooperative games are really hard to do because it's a whole different dynamic. Instead of player versus player, it's players versus game. So you have to find that balance, and it gets tricky. And another thing that happened while we were there was Marina Sirtis was there. I can't remember if I shared this last week or not. I probably didn't because I was sleep deprived and kind of crazy. But Marina Sirtis was there, who plays Deanna Troi in the original series. No, not the original. The Next Generation. And who is hilarious, by the way. She's hilarious. So she was also signing autographs. So we got her to autograph her card. And so that was really fun to talk to her and have her sign the card. And so, yeah, because the other people were having her stand in front of the game. But then we thought, well, if we meet other, cast, like Will Wheaton, we could have him sign his card and then we could just have a collection. So that was really fun. And so the conversation we had with her went a little like this. And my husband introduced himself. He's like, hi, and this is my wife, Lucia, and, we really enjoyed your series, and, thank you for being here, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, that's nice, like nice small talk. And then she's like, wait, that's your wife? Oh, man, you did well. You better not screw this up, because you ain't going to do this well again. Or this good again. I can't remember. I wish I had, taped the whole thing, because it was hilarious. And she's like, you did well, man. I keep looking for the seeing eye dog. And she got up and was, looking around. And we were laughing. It was really funny. I was like, all right, Marina Sirtis approves. I'm good. So that made me feel really good. I mean, my husband tells me I'm beautiful all the time, but it's just, sometimes it's nice to hear it from someone who has no clue who you are. And who's never going to see you again, so that's okay. But that was fun. And I can't wait to play this game. We're big proponents of cooperative games in our house. So when I saw a Star Trek cooperative game, I was like, sounds great to me. So we're really excited to try this out. So I thought I'd show that off while I'm on the Star Trek theme. So this is Star Trek and Stripey Yarn, I think, which will be the title of the episode. Star Trek and Stripey Yarn Anomalies, since I don't know what's going on with my Stripey Yarn socks. Anyway, I think that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. There's a little bit of gaming, a little bit of knitting, a little bit of Lego. Ta-da! And enjoy your week, and I will see you next week. All right, bye.